Hey guys, welcome back to TSI. I'm Dave. Thanks for watching. So I get a lot of questions on the channel about New York State gun laws, about what they are specifically, how do you stay within the law, and all that kind of stuff. Let me move the camera a little bit closer. See my pretty face. Anyway, the specific question I received the other day is that a gentleman wanted to know, because his family lived in New York State, what guns can and cannot I bring into the state? Well, let's start by going over New York State gun law in general, and then we'll answer that question as time goes on. Okay, so I'm going to divide New York State firearms into three different categories. These are not going to be surprising to anybody. It is rifle, pistol, and shotgun. So let's talk about rifles, since that's the thing that I have the most experience with, and that's probably the most egregious limitation that we have in New York State. Okay, so a rifle that is semi-automatic, meaning that you have a rifle and it's semi-automatic just by itself, it's fine. You can have a detachable magazine. That's fine too. Okay, so we got a rifle with a detachable magazine. Then we start getting into the shitty areas. So if the rifle is a semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine and it has several of the following features, you're fucked. You've got a bayonet lug, a threaded muzzle, a pistol grip, a telescoping or folding buttstock. So, let's go over it again. Having a semi-automatic rifle is totally cool. Having a detachable magazine on a semi-automatic rifle is also totally cool. What gets you into trouble is that if you have any of the features in addition to a semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine. So, semi-automatic rifle, detachable magazine, good to go. After that, these are the features that will get you in trouble. Threaded muzzle, bayonet lug, pistol grip, folding or telescoping buttstock. So you might be asking at that point, okay, so what semi-automatic rifles are legal in New York State? Well, very simply, the Sega rifles are, if you can find them. Nowadays it's a little bit more difficult. You can also make AR-15s New York State compliant. Also, there's another thing that's kind of cool about, not really cool about the law, but it's kind of interesting to know about. Over here you've got an M1 Garand. This is my M1 Garand. And it's a semi-automatic rifle, and oh my god, what is that? That's a bayonet lug. Am I going to get fucked? No. The answer is no. And why is that exactly? Because the M1 Garand lacks a detachable magazine. So if your semi-automatic rifle lacks a detachable magazine, that means that you can put more features on it. So for example, if I wanted to with this particular gun, or if I had an SKS, which I used to, it's immune to New York State assault weapons laws. That's why you see them and they've got bayonet lugs and you've got, threaded muzzles and everything like that. Well, the reason why that they are legal in New York State is because no detachable magazine. So if you wanted to add a folding stock to an SKS, you could do that. Not that they really make any good ones for the SKS, but hey, listen, if you want to go that route, I can't necessarily stop you. I will advise you not to, though. SKSs are beautiful rifles by themselves. Don't fuck it up. Okay, so anyway, we've got that part of the law done. So rifles are good. Now, in terms of bringing rifles into the state, if you are a non-resident, sure, you can do that. There's no registration for the rifle itself. Just make sure that it's compliant. If you have a bolt-action rifle, if you even have a pump-action rifle, then you're good. You're generally good to have whatever features you want on it. Also, if you have a semi-automatic rifle, as I said, with no detachable magazine, you're also in good shape. Let's talk about pistols. Now, this is where things get a little bit more complex, slightly more complex. The answer is, can I bring a pistol into New York State as a non-resident legally? The answer is, hell no. No, you cannot. Not without a non-resident permit. If you decide to bring a pistol into New York State with no kind of license of any kind, whether it be resident or non-resident, you are in deep shit if you get caught. If you get caught, you're in deep shit. So the answer is, make sure you communicate with the New York State Police, and if you're an out-of-state resident and you want to come into the state and have your handgun, get a pistol permit for it, and your problems are solved. Now, let's talk about what kind of pistols are legal and illegal in New York State. There's no specific kind of pistol that is illegal unless it's based off an AR-15 or an AK or anything like that. So basically your AR pistols, your AK pistols, they're considered assault pistols. So you can't have any of those. So don't even try it. Just make sure you have a conventional handgun, a gun that is meant to be fired by your hand, like a Glock, a 1911, a revolver. The one thing I will caution you about is make sure that you do not have any suppressors, you do not have any threaded muzzles on said pistols. Assuming that you have, of course, your license, don't do any of that kind of stuff. So most handguns, semi-automatic or semi-automatic or double action revolver type or single action revolver type, they're usually going to be okay. Just make sure you do not have a magazine capacity in excess of 10 rounds. And we're going to go into that a little bit more later. So now we've got the shotgun. And this is the gun that I recommend for people who are coming into the state as a non-resident to actually have. First of all, you can get a pump action shotgun for fairly cheap. So it doesn't really matter if it gets banged around on the trip to New York. It doesn't matter that, first of all, it doesn't matter that it gets banged around. Obviously, I said that. Now you've got the second part, which is there's really nothing the New York State Police can do if the gun stays within the magazine tube limitation. Now, what I mean by that is that a shotgun in pump action form, we're going to talk about semi-automatic in just a second. A shotgun in pump action form can have pretty much whatever you want. It just can't have a tube in excess, a tube that can hold in excess of 7 rounds. So if you have a 7-round tube, you're good. Even if it can hold 1 in the chamber, you're also good for a total capacity of 8 rounds in your shotgun. Now, if the tube can hold 8 rounds and the chamber can hold 1, then you're not really in good shape because the 8-round limitation has just been exceeded. And that's a serious crime in New York. It's stupid, I know. You don't have to tell me. It's fucking stupid. I get it. But anyway, make sure that you're totally aware of that. Now, in terms of a semi-automatic shotgun, make sure that, again, it has that magazine limitation at 7 rounds in the tube. You've got that. Now, the next thing you have to worry about is do not have a folding or retractable buttstock, and do not have a shotgun that has a detachable magazine. Shotguns with detachable magazines in New York State are completely banned. There is no exception. You cannot have them. So if you plan to bring your Saiga 12 into the state, don't. Can't. They're considered assault weapons. Dumb, I know, but that's the way the law was set up. So the pump action shotgun is the gun I recommend to bring into New York State, just for its versatility, the fact that it's not considered an assault weapon at all. There's really nothing that they can charge you with in terms of, unless you exceed that magazine capacity. There's nothing really that is particularly threatening under New York State law about it. They're actually so common that I doubt that you'll even get any sort of attention from them. You can even put a folding stock on a pump action shotgun or any non-semi-automatic manually operated gun. Okay, so we've covered the 3 main things about New York State in terms of gun categories. So let's talk about primarily the magazine capacity, which is sort of a shit show, but let's dedicate a whole section to it because it really is kind of a funny story. So when the New York SAFE Act, our beautiful, glorious law that was passed in 2013 to save the children, which is kind of funny because in Suffolk County, in the area that I live in, or in the area that I live close to, gun crime is up about 30%. This is post-SAFE Act, so good job. Anyway, we started off when the SAFE Act was passed at 7 rounds. That's true. We started off at 7 rounds. So flat out, 7 rounds, no exceptions. Then they realized in Albany, the great lawmakers that we have, they said, wait a minute, nobody actually makes a 7-round magazine for any semi-automatic rifle or any rifle or pistol in general. Okay, so this is what they proposed at that point when they realized they fucked up pretty bad. They said, all right, so if you've got a 10-round magazine, you cannot load more than 7 rounds into it. So they thought, hey, listen, we've enabled people to buy their shit, but we're going to still impose the magazine limitation. So let me repeat that. They said that you can have a 10-round magazine in New York State, but you cannot load more than 7 rounds into said magazine. Now, how the fuck were they going to enforce that? I have no idea, but that was their logic at the time. So we're going to move forward in time a little bit more. This is more recently, maybe about a couple months ago to a year. A New York State judge said, listen, that's fucking stupid. Go back to 10 rounds. So now the answer in New York State is, what is the capacity? It is 10 rounds for anything that is not a shotgun. It is 7 rounds for things that are a shotgun with a tube. So let's go over that again. If you have a shotgun and it has a tube, 7 rounds. If it has a detachable magazine, meaning a pistol or a rifle, it's 10 rounds. So it's a 10-round limitation. 10, 10, 10. It is in fact 10 rounds. So you can have 10 rounds in basically whatever you want, aside from a shotgun, of course. So that is the basics of the New York State law. Of course, I haven't covered every single aspect of it. The one thing I will say about semi-automatic shotguns. See, these laws are really, really dumb, and it's kind of difficult for me to actually process the whole thing. If you have a semi-automatic shotgun, do not have a bayonet lug, a collapsing or folding stock. Don't have any of those features. It's similar to the assault weapons clause with rifles, but again, it's not quite the same. But if you have a pump action shotgun, you can have a fucking 10 bayonet lugs if you'd like. I know, right? It's fucking retarded. So if you have the guns that I recommend to bring into the state, I said again, are a pump action shotgun primarily. But if you've got one of these lying around, an M1 Garand, sure, bring one of them. They're perfectly legal in New York State. Perfectly legal. What's great about the M1 Garand and what makes it a really viable defensive arm in the modern era, at least in 2015, is that to this day, no state actually bans this gun. None. Zero. Not even California. Not even New Jersey. Not even New York. Not even Connecticut. They're all legal because they're considered a collector's item and they're considered a piece of history, which they are, but they're also a kick-ass battle weapon. So yeah, guys, thanks a lot for subscribing. Thanks a lot for taking the time to look at these videos. Thanks for asking me questions. I absolutely love answering your questions. I love interacting with you guys, and I hope you have a good day. And also, I want to say that while I am in the People's Republic of New York, I know that you guys are probably feeling terrible for me right now, but don't worry, don't feel too bad for me. I will not be in this state for too much longer. I plan to leave in 2016. So, Happy New Year 2016. I hope you come soon. And when I am out of the state, I will let you guys know as soon as I am. All right, guys. So that's about it today. Hopefully this does give you a good generalized overview of New York State. And my primary advice to you is don't fucking go there. If you have relatives, tell them to come to your state because it fucking sucks here. But if you have to, I understand. Life is not always what you want it to be. I know. I live in New York. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a nice one.